Okay, this is some coaching for Isla. I'm going to call you Isla. Your first initial is I. There was only one person with a first I initial who wrote in for coaching, so you know who you are. Um, and it is also coaching for anyone who is really freaking tired of self-development and trying to feel better and nothing working, or it working so slowly, it's very difficult to see if it's actually working. So I'm not going to go into the specifics you sent me, Isla, because I think that that's actually kind of, I sort of want to move beyond the specifics because I think being down in the nitty gritty, being down in the trenches and just grinding away at your patterns, excuse me, is part of like the pain that's in your email is like, I can see the stuff, I'm working on it in therapy, I'm still doing these fucking behaviors. And you actually said help, exclamation point, which I completely feel. So what I want to help you with is that feeling of like, this is not working. Why is it so slow? Why is nothing changing? That's the focus. Okay. So it also applies to anyone else who is having those feelings. So I think of where you are as in the trenches. I particularly picture it like, actually like a trench. You're on the bottom of the trench and you're kind of like going along. And you can sort of see the sky, but the walls are high and you're just like going along, waiting for when you're going to finally hit a ladder and you can climb out. Okay. And what this experience is like is that you know you're trying to change, you have an idea of what you're trying to change, but you do not feel like you can see any progress. There is a specific reason this happens, and it has to do with the way that our brains process change, particularly change around deep structures. So here we go. I did not invent this. Someone else invented this. It might be in one of those habit books, but I couldn't be ours to look it up. But it's not mine. I'm not claiming it. But these are the phases of change. So number one, we are unconscious of what we need to change, and it's not changed. So we're just going along, acting out our patterns, being like, I don't know why everything seems to blow up at work or at home or with my boyfriend or whatever. We don't know what we're doing. The second, and number two, we are conscious of the pattern, but it does not change at all, which is the worst place to be. And that is the trenches, right? The trenches are basically that, and then edging into quadrant 3 down here, which is where we are conscious of the behavior and we're starting to change. And then eventually in quadrant 4, which I forgot to number, but since you can count, you will know, is where we are unconscious now of the new behavior. So we've gone so far into the change that now the new behavior is the baseline and we don't have to think about it. We don't have to be like, do not argue back with mom. It doesn't help anything. It's like our brain just doesn't argue. Okay. So where you are, where anyone is who is like, why is this not working? I'm in the trenches. This sucks. Nothing is changing. My patterns are so deep. You are in quadrant 2. And the reason that I didn't want to give you sort of coaching on your perfectionism that you talked about or the stuff around work that you talked about is because you're already in quadrant 2 working. Like you already have tools that are working for you there, it sounds like. They're not working as fast as you want and you're just struggling. It's just shitty. It's just going on. And you're like, why and how will this ever change? Okay. So what I want to do instead is kind of zoom out and help you see the bigger picture of where you are. And, part of that is seeing that whole grid of all 4 quadrants. But there's actually a way that we have kind of found to document this for ourselves in our culture, and it's the training montage. So if you think about it, any training montage basically takes us through quadrants 2, 3, and 4, where, we see the hero, like he can't really box and then he's getting better and better and he can't really run. And then he's like running really fast and running all these miles. And we watch him take these teeny tiny little wins and build it into this big transformation. And I think, part of the reason why we love training montages, besides the fact that we don't have to do any of the work that we're watching, is that it shows us, like, we get to see how all those little teeny shifts actually add up to change. We get to watch that movement from quadrant 3, 2 to 3 to 4. And so it's this kind of picture that I think you need or that would really help you to kind of zoom out from the trenches and be like, I am in my own training montage right now. You are a hero. You are fighting your way to a big, important transformation. And therapy is like your sit-ups or your plies or your hours of piano practice or whatever kind of aspirational movie you like. Struggling with working on your job applications, that's like your practice fights. You're not going to win every one, but you are in the ring. And that's why you're the fucking star of this movie. You're tired for a reason. Everyone in a training montage is tired until they're not. But everybody needs some glimpses of the sky to keep going, right? We need to not just keep looking at the trench. We need to be able to believe that we're getting somewhere. And I think that some people get that from, religious faith or like a huge goal that keeps them believing that something's going to come after where they are now. And I am not actually coaching you, so I don't know what will work for you, but I know what works for everyone to some extent because we all fucking love a training montage. So I'm going to give you some training montage based practices. You specifically asked for some daily practices you can do. And so these are the ones that I recommend for you to help you. And so the goal of this is not to, like I said, it's not to work on the perfectionism or the job stuff or the Grand Canyon of patterns. It's to remind you why the fuck you're doing this and that it is working. Even if you can't see it yet, it's working, it's working, it's working. Okay, so these are the 3 things you can do. And I deliberately made them kind of fun because quadrant 2 is not fun. And I don't want to put anything else on your plate that sucks. Okay, so here they are. Practice 1. Watch any training montage from any film on YouTube. I'm going to put one of my favorites, which is from Creed. I'll put it somewhere. I don't really know the YouTube thing yet, but I'll put it somewhere you can see it. Okay. Watch any training montage from any film on YouTube and find one way you are showing up like the hero. So granted, you're probably, maybe you are shadowboxing a lot. I actually have no idea. I don't know what you get up to, but maybe what you see is, oh, he asked someone for help, or, oh, he's out there every day, or, oh, he didn't give up even when he got discouraged at this moment. Okay. So watch any training montage from any film on YouTube, find one way you are showing up like the hero. Number 2, find evidence of your small changes, mini wins, and hints of progress, and imagine how they will be shown in your training montage. So what scene cuts to what? Like, do we see you like working on resumes late at night with like burning the midnight oil? Do we see you, on the bus to your therapist, like time after time, just like fucking showing up? Like, imagine what the training montage looks like. You can even, imagine the music. But this is a kind of, the kids say like romanticize schoolwork or romanticize, I don't know, your chores. I don't know. It's like we want to romanticize this process a little bit for you so that you actually can put it in a context where you can see how heroic you are being in the way you are showing up. And then number 3, imagine the specific success the montage ends with and allow yourself to feel what it's like to have your hard work pay off. So right now, like in your email, it's like your brain is very fixated on the size of the problem and the difficulty of solving it. And that makes sense because, as I keep saying, you're in the fucking trenches. But in order to keep going, you need that lightness of the zooming out. You need to be able to see and believe in a finish line. So because we're working with this, montage metaphor, we're using it to kind of get your brain to zoom out from quadrant 2. I'd like you to imagine, at the end of the montage, we usually get to see the hero do something they've been trying to do. Like the girl finally does her, I don't know, on point ballet spin or whatever. So what is that going to look like for you? Imagine it and imagine what it's like to imagine how it's going to feel. Actually feel the feelings now. Put yourself in the place of yourself at this moment in the montage and see how it feels. Okay. And watch the montage from Creed, which I'll put somewhere. And you'll see at the end, there's all of these kids from his neighborhood kind of zoom around him and like circle him, and they're like going with him and cheering him on. And so You can imagine, all of you, we can imagine that we are doing this together. We are there cheering each other on. I wish I could actually watch your montages, but I will imagine them instead. I hope this is helpful, Isla. And if anyone else wants a coaching video, I will drop the link to request one in the comments. All right. Bye, everyone.